Welcome to week 12, day 55 of the spring 2025 Web Technologies course. I'm Jim Kaufman with Rankin Technical College. So today we're going to go over JavaScript chapter 14, how to work with browser objects, cookies, and web storage. So modern applications kind of require us to create responsive and personalized experiences, and understanding how to interact with the browser environment is crucial. So there's basically three different topics we're going to discuss here. Is the location object, and that's how to retrieve URL information and navigate, and we can navigate programmatically as well. Going forward or backward, and things like that. Kind of instead of using the browser, back and forward buttons, there's times that you really want to be able to control that a little bit from your application. So you can do that. And then also, as far as the location object, you can get the data from a URL. You get in the URL, and if you recall, when we were testing like gets and posts from forums, and the get would have all the name value pairs would be in the URL, so we can grab those programmatically via JavaScript. And then also we're going to take a look at the history object, and basically about managing the browser session history. Cookies storing small amounts of data on the client side. And then there's also web storage, both local and session. And this is persisting large. We're not going to do anything. We're still going to do the small stuff. For the web storage, here are some examples, but we're not going to do any large data sets. But it's primarily for persisting larger data sets in a browser than what you would put in a cookie. Okay. So some real world scenarios. So let's just say an e-commerce website that's remembering your shopping cart. That's basically how that's done. It's using cookies and web storage to hold on to that data, right? So then the next time you come in, oh, there's my cookie, there's my there's my shopping cart. Now sometimes there's also let's say your Amazon and stuff, besides you just doing it there, they're also saving it. So in case you leave or come back, it still will be in Amazon's if you add things to your cart within Amazon, right? So some places, and I'm not sure exactly how they do it. If they do it, some things locally, some things on their server, but it can be done different ways. Smaller websites probably going to use basically store that stuff locally, right? So we'll look into that a little more. And then as far as let's see here. So as far as our location object, so our location object is our window into the current URL. Allows us to retrieve information and manipulate the browser's location. href, this is the property that holds the complete URL of the current page. So here's kind of an example. They're just kind of location.href. This is going to basically be the current page. This is just an example, obviously example.com, but location.href will be the current page. We'll take a look at that in the browser here. And then you can also do what's called search. This property gives us the query string portion of the URL. And like I was just mentioning, when we were kind of doing the forums, we did the get, and we had the question mark, and we put the name value pairs in the URL. We can grab this, right, just by doing location.search. So let's just go ahead and let's look at an example of that real quick here. So here's that URL. I just actually put this in here. And, this example.com, I don't know if you're familiar. It actually is an example domain that they've kind of set up. It can be, used just for demonstration purposes. So here you've got these the different parameters, name value pairs. So if I go ahead and bring up developer tools here, and obviously just go ahead and ignore, it's just complain that the favoricon's not there. Sometimes you'll see little errors now and then. Just basically, it's more kind of a warning saying, you don't have a favicon here. So for this, you can actually do location, right? Dot search, and if you hit the enter key, you will see it will just give you the query string. So you can basically grab this from JavaScript. You can just do location.search, and then you'll get all your parameters. Okay. And what was the other one we were looking at? Location. And I haven't really done this, I don't think, before, but in the browser. And so location.href right here. And so this is the whole URL. Location.search will just give you the name value pairs and the question mark and name value pairs. Just anything after, your page, the question mark on. So that's that. And to parse and extract these parameters, you use this URL search params. Okay. Basically, just passing in the name and getting, and you'll get the values. So let's look at, hold on this a little bit. So the stuff's on the right-hand side is basically, and let me tell you what this is about. So this on the right-hand side, this is actually the code. This is actually your lab assignment. I completed a version, so to speak, my version of this. Pretty, and it kind of follows. This is actually your Chapter 14 lab assignment. And so you've got 3 exercises. Exercise 1, 2, and 3. The first one is location and history objects. Exercise 2 is cookies. And exercise 3 is web storage. Okay. So let's go ahead and go back to that code for that. So here's the basic of the HTML. I got the H2 tags, heading tags for exercise 1, 2, and 3 in here. If you want to come back and look at this video, basically you can, code off of this. Here's exercise 1. Here's the HTML for that. Here's exercise 2, the HTML for that. And then here's exercise 3, which is the HTML for the web storage. And I'm linking a JavaScript file here. So you can, if you want to use this, you can come back and use this. You want to create your own, that's fine as well, from scratch. And this whole assignment, if you want to do it, there's some different ways to do some of the JavaScript. If you want to do it your own way, you want to search on how to do some things, that's fine as well. But here's an opportunity. If you want this code, you can just kind of get this from the video here. So basically got a helper function, selector, I'm just doing document.getAllMyID. So here's our location. So basically the href tag. So what we're doing here is we're doing a location.href. Okay. And we're setting it to this Mozilla. So if I come over here, and so I've got a button for go to mozilla.mdn, and I'm just setting the href to that. Similar to doing an A tag, but it's a little different. And so I'm going to click this, and it's basically going to open up that link, right? And then also we have what's called reload. Reload's similar to can click the reload up here. But, there's times you may want to be able to control this from within the browser. And so this reload's just going to basically reload the page, right? We have replace, location.replace here. And so if we click this, it's actually going to, so let me show you something here. So, we already went to Mozilla here. So if I put that there, right, we've got 2 pages as far as our history right now. We have our basically our local host here, and then we have the Mozilla page, right? MDN. If I go here now and I click replace though, this is going to replace the current page with, this is node.js, right? This is just a website, right? For Node. And so if I hit replace here, it's going to go here. Now, as you can see, if I go forward from here, it's going to go to Mozilla. If I go back, it's going to go Node. So this actually replaces the page. It doesn't just go to another page, it replaces it, okay? So I'm going to need to grab that page again. So I'm just going to close that. So that's kind of location history there. We did that. So we did reload and replace. So we did reload. It forces a reload. And replace, we did that. Redirecting users based on conditions. If some condition, then replaced it with one to another. Yeah, I can't really think of a lot of reasons you would do that, but that is an option. And then also now we were going to talk about the history object a little bit. The history object lets us manage the browser's session history. Okay, let me open this, move this a little bit more here. So we've got length, back, forward, go. Okay. So the length property tells us the number of entries in the history stack. Okay. And actually, so let me show you something with here, because the back and forward, there's a couple different ways we could test this. The back and forward. And so let me show you that a little bit. We kind of got to get it set up for that. Okay, so I'm going to just copy this for now. And I'm actually going to close. I'm going to create another browser thing. So let's do the first one. Let's do Git Bootstrap, whatever I have here. So there's Bootstrap. So that's the first one in history, right? And actually, I think the Google, there's probably the second one. I think the Google page will be the first one. This will be the second one. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to, let me go to that Node.js. Okay, so that would be the third one in history. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to our localhost, our one here. And then, so let me go to that. So let me see what happens here. So if you see, history length is 4. I had to hit refresh to see it though. History length 4, so this one would be the fourth one. The third one was the Node.js. The second one was the Bootstrap, and the first one was kind of the Google page, right? So we've got 4 of those in history. And that's how history works. And that was the history.length, right? That's right here. And you basically just, and all of these you can actually use within the console. If you go to the Chrome, Chrome developer tools, you type in history.length, you'll see that just like we did the location stuff as well, right? So now we can do back and forward. We got back and forward and go back to. So let's see what we got here. Back is just going to go back. History forward is going to go forward. We don't have anything to go forward yet. So what I can do here is let me put something else in here. I don't know. Let me just put in ESPN. Okay. And I'm just going to go back here. So obviously history.length updated 5 here, right? So now we had the first one was the Google page, the second one was the Get Bootstrap, third one was Node, fourth one is our app right here, our website, and then the fifth one would be the ESPN. That's our history. And then so we've got backward and forward, and then we also have this go back to. So this should go back 2 places, right? So let's take a look at that. So if I go back here, click the back one, it should go back just 1, right? So the one that was right before this was what? The node. So if I click this, that should go to node. Now to get back to where we were, we're going to have to click the button up here because we don't have, our app's not here anymore. So we'll have to use the button to get back to where we were. So now we're at this location. So this is number 4. If I go forward, we'll go to ESPN, right? I have to hit the back button to get back to our app. Now let's say we could actually go back to, okay? Or anything we want, you basically change that to whatever. Here it's -2. We could also change it to -3. We'll change it and take a look at that. So if I go back to here, this should go back to Get Bootstrap, right? And there it is. There it is. So if I go back, go forward, now we're at Node, and go forward again. Now we're at our lab assignment here. Let's see what else I want to do. Okay, so just for heck of it, let's change the history. We could just go and we can maybe change that to 1. And so instead of going back 2, we were just actually moving forward to 1, right? If I want to change this to -3, that should go back to like the Google page here. I'm going to save that. I'll refresh it. So actually we should be going back 3 now. And that's the Google page, right? And we go forward, Bootstrap, Node page. We're back to our lab assignment. So let me put that back the way it was. Okay. So this is what we kind of already looked at. We looked at our length. So our length of our stack, our history stack. Looked at the back button, the forward button, and the go button will go specifies however many forward, backward. 0 is going to reload the current page, right? So when would you kind of use some of this stuff? You may want to control. It's a little more user friendly to, especially if you got an application. Let's just say you're doing your taxes or something, and you're using TurboTax and stuff like that. You're going through some different screens and stuff where, it's just beneficial. Oh, I want to go back to the previous page. Yeah, you can go to the browser window. It's just a lot more user friendly to have a back button right there, so the user can just click the back button, right, and then go back forward. Resubmit it, go forward. And then also there's called single page applications where you basically, when you click the links, you're always staying within that single page. But you can also, within the browser history, it does keep track of it's kind of different, but there is some tracking that goes on, even though you stay within the same page, a single page application that you can actually use to control where you're going within that app. The last thing you did may be different than where you're at now. So there's ways to kind of navigate that back and forth. So that's another use. I'm sure there's others as well, but that's kind of, just a couple of scenarios there. Okay, so let's look at cookies a little bit. And so here we're doing a set a cookie and we're getting a cookie. So in our app, so yeah, mine is already there because I'm going to clear the cookie. so that it shouldn't be there anymore. So let's look at that real quick. So, oh, sorry. I always have a thing about hitting Control S to save things when I'm in the wrong place. You know, and the editor works, doesn't work in the browser though. It's funny. So here, let me open this up a little bigger. So here, so the idea of cookies. Let's just look how that kind of works a little bit here. So if I hit the F12 key to bring up developer tools, okay, and you know I don't know what you're going to be on when you bring up yours. Kind of really what last thing you're working on. But up here at the top, you got elements, console, sources. You know, it depends on where you've got things. Could be on the right-hand side. You know, there's obviously it can be configured in different ways. But up here, you'll have different things to choose from here. You want to choose application, right? And then on the left-hand side here, you'll notice you got different kinds of storage, right? So right here, you've got a cookie. You got a cookie for this. This cookie is empty. There's nothing in here, right? There's nothing in here. Now, if I go ahead and put my name in here and I hit Remember Me, okay? If I hit Remember Me and I click Submit, oh, I seem to put some breakpoints in there. Get out of there. Okay. Let's go back to application. So now that I submitted that, as you can see in here, let's make this bigger. We created a cookie. It's got a username is the name. The value is Jim. It has the domain, which is localhost. Path is just a /. And here we have an expiration date because we set a. We'll take a look at that, but we set a basically a 30 days from now expiration date. Okay. So let's go ahead and close that for now. Okay. Well, just also wanted to, I guess, just to show you. I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. So I'm going to clear the cookie. And even though I did, it's still here, but you kind of got to refresh the page. You're not really refreshing the page. It's actually gone. It's just that the way Google works, even with the developer tools, it's cached right now until. So if I refresh this, boom, it's gone now. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the code a little bit for this. Let me get that out of there. So this is what we do. We set a cookie, okay? Let's see where we're calling that. For cookies, we're doing clear cookies here. All right. And then we have in our JavaScript up top, what do we have here? Let's see, we've done all this stuff. We've got set cookies, get cookies. So here we got a event listener for get cookie. Erase cookies, set cookies, set cookies. So on submit, we're using an event listener on submit. So we're preventing default. If you remember what that is for like a form, that's prevent a form from actually being submitted. So here you see username and remember me. It's setting remember me to remember me. Got checked. So if we check that, it's actually setting the cookie, passing these arguments, username, the username, and in my case it was Jim, and the number of days for the cookie. All right. Now there's also another option here. What we're doing as far as code. The other thing we're doing as far as the code is we're setting it kind of as a session cookie as opposed to a specific. And a session cookie is only going to last through that session. Once you close your session, close your browser, and bring it back up, that little session cookie you created is going to be gone. Okay, but when you create a cookie this way, that cookie is going to stay until that expiration date. So we have an expiration date in 30 days. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the set cookie. So we have an expires, and we're just we just create a variable expires. We're passing in days. So it's 30 days. We're using a date object, okay? And then we're updating that date object. We're setting the time on that date object. We're getting the current days, and we're adding, right? And this is how you would do. So basically, what you're doing is 24 hours, right? Times 60 minutes, 60 seconds, and you have to multiply it by milliseconds. So you multiply it by 1,000. Okay, this is the basic way to do that. Okay, so you have the number of days times the number of hours in a day, the number of minutes, the number of seconds times 1,000, and this basically will make sure that this will expire within 30 days by doing it this way. And so we're setting this expires equal, and then we take our date that we just set with the update, and then we go ahead and do a UTC string on that, and it will set that. Okay. So let me show you something else here. So we've seen how it's had the April 24th date in there for that, right? So let me show you something else though. And I think I have an example over here. So what I want to do is I want this to expire quickly. So what we're going to do is we're not going to use the days thing here. So what this is actually going to do, this will actually expire that cookie in 1 minute. So let's go ahead and let me save this. I'm going to come back here and I'll put my name in here again. I'm going to hit remember here. Let me refresh this page just to make sure. I'm sure I probably don't have to, but every once in a while I'm wrong on that. So put my name in here, click to remember me and hit submit. So I'm going to go in here now and I'm going to do my developer tools and we see it here. And so you can see right here, it says 320 expires 325. That's today. And it's actually going to be at 14:30, so it's going to be, because it's UTC time, right? It's different kind of time. So basically it's in a minute. It's 9:29 now. So once the time hits 9:30, it's going to expire. And so we're just going to kind of hang out here for a minute. And we're going to refresh this and see this. Okay. So more than a minute's passed. I'm just going to go ahead and refresh my page and hopefully this is going to work like I expect. We'll see. So there you go. Refresh the page. Now it's gone. It expired. So once it expired, it's gone. Let me put that back the way it was. And so also on this page, let me close this. So you can kind of see here, if I hit okay, well our cookies were expired right now. So, but if I go ahead and put my name back in here, click remember me and do submit, it's there. So when I refresh this page, I know there's times we've done things when we've had some assignments and whatever you refreshed your page, you're going to lose all your data. But in this case, it's actually it's getting this cookie and it's going to actually put this value in there, right? So even if we close this page, and actually I haven't tested this with live server. I don't know if that would make a difference. I don't think so. It should be there. So if I open up live server now on this page, I've closed it, still has Jim, and that's what I expect because it's reading that cookie. The cookie's still there. So the cookie's still there because it's kind of stored. It's stored in the browser's memory, in the browser storage, right? In that cookies thing. Even if you leave that page, even if I close the browser and I come back in, it still should be there, right? And it's based on your domain, so it's based on this localhost domain, right? And if it works the same way for other sites. It's based on their domain is how that stuff gets saved. Okay, so the other way, just to kind of another way besides just this kind of consider a local cookie, but you can also kind of do a session cookie, and a session cookie only lasts until your session. As long as your session is valid, right? So your session's valid. Basically, you're going to end up closing. I'm sure you'd have to close our browser, but here, let's take a look at that real quick. So let me first, I guess, let me clear cookies so we don't have none. Let's hit refresh. So in this case, I'm just going to put my name, and instead of clicking remember me, actually, let's go look here. Before I do that, let's go look in developer tools. And so we have these different storages. You have local storage, session storage. Nothing's in either one of the. Yes, it is. And actually, live server puts in some information. Is this the first time log in from live server? True. So live server uses it, right? Let's see what we have here. Okay, local storage, nothing there. Our session storage, okay. So let me go ahead. We don't see anything in there. Let's go back here. We don't have to go back. We can just go over here. And I'm going to go ahead and not click remember me. I'm just going to hit submit here. And I believe that's how I got this code set up. And now if I go ahead and refresh this, oh. So what I'm doing, I'm sorry, I was confusing the different storages here. It actually is going to save it. It's going to save it over here, though. So if you can see, instead of, we're doing the same thing as we did, pretty close to the same thing as we did for the remember me. Is actually just, it's creating an expired, where here this is expires. This is based on session. So it's still a cookie, and it just expires when the session expires, right? But I believe let me see if I close this. Let's see how this is going to work. Real quick here. If I close this, come back here, and if I open up live server again, then let's go ahead and do developer tools again here. Go to our cookie. Yeah, it's still going to be there. The only way that's going to disappear is, and I just don't want to do it right now. If I close my browser, I don't want to kind of lose everything, start over. So if I know if I close my browser, if you close all your browser, your session's will be gone. So, okay, let's see what's next here. So we looked at cookies. This is a way to actually delete your cookie, is by setting this max age like this. Just a functionality that's available. By using that, it'll actually erase your cookie. So that's deleting that cookie. And that's when we click that button. Clear cookies. It causes erase cookie. All right. So we got that. We did our cookie. Our cookie form, remember me. So, yeah, so basically to do that session cookie, if I open up this, let me go to that. if you pass in null, for the days, right? It's not it's that it'll automatically make it into a session cookie. If you don't put an expires on there, right? So basically, it's not. Then it's actually, it's going to skip this. So if days is null, it's going to skip this, and it's just going to come down here, right? And so then it will save the name. It'll just make it into a session cookie if you don't have an expires. Okay, that's how that works. All right. So what else we have here? So now we got web storage. So for web storage, you put your favorite color. Now this really probably isn't a valid thing for web storage, but didn't want to put a bunch of data in here. So if you're just simple data, you can put this in a cookie too, right? But we'll go ahead and put this in web storage here. Let's go back to our stuff here a little bit. So make sure I didn't miss anything. So creating, reading, and deleting cookies. As you can see, max age, that's why you have to put this in, multiply, so max age basically is that days times the hours, the minutes, the seconds times 1,000. So it's a big number, right? That's just how that works. Let's see. Then when you need to parse the cookie, yeah, so yeah, I did want to mention that you can, well, here it's setting the max age to a 0. There's different ways to do that. This is one. You set max, that's probably the easiest. Set max age to 0, and that'll actually delete the cookie. But did want to mention, if you got a cookie, all you can do is you can actually update the cookie. Simply set the cookie again with a new value, and it's going to update that cookie. It's just going to override it, right? So as far as web storage provides a more robust way to store data on the client side. Advantages of using web storage: larger storage capacity, and a simpler API than cookies. Data storage is stored as key value pairs. So you have two different options here on this. You have local and session storage. Local storage data persists even after the browser is closed. Session storage data is cleared when the browser session ends. Okay, kind of like what we wrote, similar to the cookies. The cookies, when you set the expiration date, it's going to last until you reach the expiration date. Even if you close your browser, restart your computer, that's going to be stayed there. That's stayed there, right? Now, if you go ahead and in your browser, if you decide to, if you got cookies in there, if you go in there and you delete your browser data, and you also choose to delete your cookies, that's going to also delete your cookies. Even if it's a year out from now, when if you delete your browser data, including the cookies, then it's going to delete that, right? But like I said, and then so that's kind of storage there. And then if you can also do the session cookie as well, right? That session cookie, and that will last until you click delete your, close your browser, close all your browsers. Sometimes you can have multiple things open. It'll still hold on to that session, right? So you kind of, if you delete all of your browsers and then you don't have to restart your computer, and you open it up, that session should be gone, right? So let's look at that a little bit. So over here on the right hand side, so we're grabbing favorite color from what we put in on the screen, and we're setting an item favorite color to the favorite color, right? And then that's the local storage. Oh, I missed the session storage above it, right? And so you're doing session storage as opposed to local storage. Okay. And so if we kind of, let me see here what will happen on this. No, it's just giving us a thing. But this is functionality that's available. This is browser level functionality. The session storage, this isn't something we created. This variable called session storage, this is already there. Same thing with like location and history, session storage and local storage. These are already available for you to use, right? So in this case, we're doing session storage for favorite color. In this situation, we're doing local storage. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. So down here, I'm just going to put in a color. I'm going to put in blue, and I'm going to store in session storage. Okay. And now if I do a F12, bring that up. So we got local storage is there, and we have session storage here. And as you can see, session storage has fave color, blue. Right? So that's now in session storage. And if I go over here and also click on store in local storage, and now you can see it also put it in here. So for that one, I have it in both, right? So maybe we'll fill everything up, and then we can go ahead when I'm pretty much finished here with our lecture, which ain't, we're not going to go too much longer here. So when we complete everything, I'll go ahead and get everything set, and we'll go ahead and close everything up, and then we're opening it back up to see that it all disappeared. Okay, so right now we have our local storage and we have our session storage set for the favorite color, and we'll go ahead and put our cookies back in there too if we don't. Our cookie still has a session cookie, so we don't have to do anything there. We're good now. Okay. All right. And then there's other methods for storage. You can remove an item, or you can do a clear. Okay. Remove an item, just going to remove one. The other is going to just clear everything that you have in local storage. So yeah, you need to make sure you're using these developer tools to really make sure that this stuff's working. Right, that's your best friend as far as that's concerned. All right, let's take a look if there's anything else we really need to cover here. So one thing I did want to go ahead and do is I kind of was in yesterday's session. I was talking about using the debugger within. You can use the debugger from developer tools. That's one option, and the other is within your Visual Studio Code here. And I was kind of saying there's different ways to do it. So I'm going to actually just do a separate video because there's some little nuances as far as when we're working with the live server. You kind of have to have things set up a certain way. And so I'm just going to kind of actually just do a separate video on that. But, I think it's really beneficial for you to, it's good to use the developer tools for some quick stuff. It's a little hard to read. It's a little... it's a little too compact and stuff, and makes things a little more challenging. Whereas within the Visual Studio Code, you have a lot more control, easier to track things and really walk through a debugger a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and do a separate session on that. Just quick little. I'm going to just do a quick little video on how to get things set up because I know what I said yesterday. There's a couple of different ways as far as you can do it from the file system and not live server, but really to test all this cookie stuff and the storage stuff, you really need to make sure you're using the live server because you need that domain name as opposed to a file path. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick video on that here later today, and I'll throw that out there. Okay, so I guess that's what I have, all I have. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take another look at this. I'm going to close all my browser windows to make sure we're sessions dead, and then we should be able to come back in here again and see, hopefully see that all the session stuff is gone. And I am kind of worried about live server might be causing an issue with some of that, but we'll see here. Okay, so we have our local storage. We have our local storage is fave color. We have our session fave color. We have a cookie, which is a session. All right, so I am going to close all of this. Close all of that. Let me see if I have any other browsers open here anywhere. I do over here, that example domain. Okay, so all of our browsers are gone. So now I'm just going to come back over here, right click and do open with live server. And if I come back in here, I'm going to get F12. And so we're going to look at local storage. It's still there. Oh, yeah, that's local storage. Session storage is gone. So local storage is going to stay there. Local storage is going to stay there until you clear your, cache, go in there to basically going into delete browser data, right? You go in there and you can delete everything and it's going to disappear then. But here you can see we've got the live server thing, but the favorite color thing's gone now, right? Down here to cookies, let's see what we got. And our session cookie's gone, right? So that's how that all works, okay? So just kind of want to point that out to you. So let me know if you have any questions about the lab. This is basically kind of my version of the lab. Actually, let me show you one other thing. I was kind of looking to do is I kind of actually created copies of all these pages. And the reason I did that, I kind of just wanted to show another way to kind of move around. I'll have to make a couple changes here. Because you know how we were kind of doing the note, we had the different pages on the history. So let me see if I saved some of the stuff. I think I did. Yeah, let me see that over here. So here, this is our first page, and then I'm going to the second page. So all these pages are just duplicates, right? But they all use the same JavaScript file. And so I'm going to put this other one here. This is how I was originally thinking about testing this, about the back and forward and all that stuff. But it's not really necessary. You can just do what we already kind of did. And go to one site and then go to another site for the backward and forward and all the history stuff. So this would be the third page. Let me see what I got here. Second page, first page. So now if I open this up. So here I'm on page 1. I'm going to go to the next page, right? And then I'm going to go to the next page from there. So now I'm at the third page, history length 3. This is just another way to kind of test this stuff. And I was originally doing this and I said, I don't know why I'm doing that. I can just go ahead and, but the other way you have to make sure that before you open up your live server stuff, that you have you have a history already, so you can go backwards, right? But this is another way. So now I'm at this is what, the third page. Did I not save it over there? I might not have saved that because I don't see it showing up there. I don't know, that's kind of weird. But okay, so I'm on the third page here. History length is 3. I can go backwards, going to go to second page. I go backwards, going to go to the first page, right? Just another way to test this. And then go back to, and that's very perplexing. That is not saying, oh, page 3, I put it down here. Duh. I see what I did. Let me just fix that real quick just for the heck of it. There we go. I don't know. All right. That's what I did wrong on that. All right. So we're there. So now if I go back to, this should go back to page 1. Right? So just another way to do that for testing purposes, to test all these pages. Back, forward, and go back to. So that's all I have for today. And like I said, I'll go ahead and create a separate video on getting debugging set up in Visual Studio Code, which I really encourage you to spend time to learn that. It's really going to help save you time and frustration on code. You can't figure out what's going on. And the debugger's a fantastic tool for that. So thanks and have a great day.